Welcome to the panel island, one of my favorite sessions of all time. Not because I get to vote nice people off, but because you get to vote nice people off. I'm an instant bystander. Now, this is going to be a lot of fun. I really appreciate the panelists joining us today. I'm going to go through a series of instructions. This is very loud. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. If somebody can. Thank you. So this is a very exciting session for us. I'm going to talk very quietly, I think. Basically, the way it works, I'm going to run through the premise of the panel, and then I'm going to allow the panelists to introduce themselves, and then we're going to go through 4 rounds of questions. And at the end of every round of questions, you're going to have a chance to vote who you thought offered the most insight in that particular category. So basically, 4 panelists, 4 rounds, 1 survivor on the island. We're going to hold 4 rounds. Topics will include anything from collaboration challenges, technology trends, and more. Speakers will have an opportunity to compete with one another, to remain on the stage in a heated face-off. There were boxing gloves we had. We opted against violence, so this is going to be a non-violent panel. But you all get to decide using your mobile devices who you thought offered the most insight. So if you don't already have those out, we would encourage you to grab those. At the end of each round of questions, you're going to vote for the panelists you thought offered the best insight. You will use your phone to text the name of the panelist and see real-time results on the screen. After the voting is over, the panelists with the least number of votes will get a round of applause because they offered a ton of value, escorted off the stage politely, and will also receive a gift from us at Central Desktop. Remember, it's all in good fun. We do have a picture of boxing gloves, but they're soft, they're padded, it's not a problem.
But we can trip, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tripping. Yeah. No weapons.
That's why you say that to me.
The 4 rounds will include round 1, which is just user adoptions. We've offered them in advance some questions to think about, ponder, get prepared for. Around user adoption, round 1. Technology trends, round 2. Round 3 is collaboration. Round 4 is just general kind of grab bag best practices with respect to Central Desktop, how to use it, good and bad sort of choices they made along the way, and learn how best to optimize the tool. So without further ado, I'd love to start by introducing the panelists. So we'll start here actually in no particular order. We'll start here, Kathy, with you. Introduce who you are, the company you're with, and a little bit about how long you've been with Central Desktop.
Okay. Hi. I'm Kathy Rakowski. I'm with Alexander's Mobility Services. Alexander's is a global relocation and transportation company, and we serve corporate and government clients. We've got 10 locations across the U.S., and we're a leading interstate agent for Atlas Van Lines. We started using Social Bridge about 3 years ago, and we came across it when we were looking frantically for an extranet solution for one of our major clients. We implemented Social Bridge really easily for them. It only took us 4 days, and they were astounded by that, so we got pretty high marks for that. And we got them up and running. Today, we have about 220 employees that are on Social Bridge and about 50 external users. We've got more external users to be added. We've got 170 drivers that we're going to be adding. And we've rebranded Social Bridge as Access Alexander's. And it's helping us to identify with that. I'm one of 2 administrators in the company, and our IT manager is the other one.
Excellent. Thank you, Kathy.
I'm Greg Martini. I'm a Technology Solutions Specialist with the IEEE Standards Association. The IEEE is a professional organization of electrical engineers, and we are the Standards Department, Standards Association, and we're responsible for facilitating the publishing of technical standards, which are developed by I think we have around 10,000 volunteers working for us. Well, they're volunteering. They work for different companies in the industry, and they contribute to the standards documents. We came across, we've been a customer of Central Desktop for about 2 years now. We started a search for a collaboration platform that we could offer to our standards volunteers to assist them in their document development process. So we analyzed a bunch of solutions, we ended up with Central Desktop because it had the greatest number of features to meet what we're looking for and didn't require us to customize anything. And we've got a complete solution right out of the box for us. And it's been very helpful. Since then, we've actually created separate company accounts for our volunteers and our internal staff, and we've also found a lot of uses for using it internally as well as for our volunteers.
Excellent. Thanks, Jake.
Hi, my name is Martha Hernandez. I am listed as coming from USC because most of my work has been through USC, but I recently transitioned over to Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and I'm part of a team that works as one of the Autism Treatment Network centers nationwide. So CHLA, we're the only one in California. And most of my work was through USC when I functioned as the administrative director of a preclinical translation and regulatory support team, where we brought together a group of scientists and clinicians and engineers around the table to really translate scientific discoveries to applications for human health in a quicker way. And so Central Desktop was really integral in the management of these teams. We've been a customer about 6+ years.
Yeah. Thanks, Martha.
Hello, my name is Jason Deal. I'm with CBS On Air Promotions. The picture on the screen is an accurate representation. Sorry, my picture was redacted because the U.S. government didn't want it floating around. We've been using Central Desktop for about 7+ years, I think, now. We've really been there working through some of the kind of technical issues with them. We use it for pretty much everything. We have about 150 people in our department. We use it from everything for vendor-client kind of communication, project approvals, and it's just everything. We store documents up there. It has become a lifeblood of our department, and without it, we find that whenever those rare occasions when there isn't a moment where Central Desktop goes down, my phone starts to ring off the hook. So we couldn't live without it, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Let's give a warm round of applause for all the panelists. So let's jump right into this. The first round is around the theme of user adoption. So any of the panelists that have an interest in answering the question, just jump right on. So the first question is this. Explain your approach to training. Provide a couple of sort of best practice tips that you've used to empower a new administrator to effectively roll out and train users on Social Bridge. This is all around training, rollout, empowerment. What are some techniques you've used in your organization?
I would say one thing was trying to get good templates going because, especially in our organization, we don't have the resources to really hold people's hands in administrating workspaces. So we wanted to create templates that put the information they were looking for where they wanted it, everything set up, folder structures and home screens and everything that would work best for them. And then we've also, within that, created links to kind of some internal help pages that best describe how to use our implementation, fill in the gaps where the help resources from Central Desktop don't cover. And I think that's been helpful for us.
So making sure to tailor the experience to the user, both from a training standpoint and the templates they use when they log in. Great. Thanks, Greg. Anyone else?
I like to use envy, anger, and jealousy in our customers and our clients because I figure if they get angry enough, then they'll be forced to use it. Not really, actually, but we have a lot of people who have had a fear of Central Desktop for whatever reason, I think. They can't comprehending kind of getting into the application and finding their way around. So there's certain things that we've implemented. For one thing, right away we realized that color coding a workspace really helps because we have probably on average, you could skip through 6 or 7 different workspaces. So we just did the obvious thing of color coding the workspace, the tabs, the menu bar, things like that, so people could identify very easily where they were right away. Without that, I've had, just in test workspaces, clients or our users get lost right away. Where am I? I don't know where I am. I try to put everything on the front page of a workspace so that clients know immediately what the workspace is all about, what they can do in it, and if they need to go any deeper. Sometimes you don't have to go any deeper than just going to the first page of a workspace. And other than that, we do a lot of training sessions with Central Desktop. We've had Central Desktop out many times, and I've encouraged the people in my department who have been generally scared of the workspaces or workspace experience to sign up. And I had actually their most recent visit, I had one gentleman whose sub-department really had not been using Central Desktop at all. We created workspaces for them. They refused to do anything in it, and he asked the most questions during the session and got the most out of it, and now they're kind of jumping in feet first and using it. They will probably end up using it better and more efficiently than almost anybody else in the department. So it's very happy about that.
Color code thing is actually great. So when we troubleshoot stuff with CVS, if I'm in the blue one, I know which one that is versus the red one and the green. So even a user that's barely in your workspaces, you guys are in it all day long. It's actually been really helpful. Great.
Our approach to training depends on the type of workspace that we're going for, and we have a couple of different types. We have a standard where we use standard templates and simple functionality, file repository. Some departments and teams find that the easiest thing to use and for their purpose. For this approach, we have a train-the-trainer kind of function, and we find a power user, somebody who's going to own the workspace and become the workspace administrator, and we train them and then support them as they need it. A lot of our workspaces are customized, highly customized and tailored, because we do both intranet. We're consolidating our intranet and our client extranets onto Access Alexander's. And so we incorporate a lot of advanced functions into those workspace, customized tabs, highly customized home pages, similar to what was said earlier. I do like the color coding idea, though. Ours is, those types of sites for us are also very graphic to help people find their way around the site. On this type of an approach, we kind of take that in like 4 steps. We also determine who the power user is, and that's usually the client manager of whatever their program is, or our internal power user. So we train them, get them oriented. Then we bring in their team, and we train their team. Then we offer any one-on-one support that might be needed for people who might have some special struggles or areas that they need additional help with. And then we follow that up with mini sessions, like maximum 20-minute sessions, where we promise them we'll get them in and out fast, and hold a webinar for 15 or 20 minutes just to focus on one area at a time. So most of them are done by webinars, and we also have tip sheets that we maintain on our site.
That's great. Thank you.
For us at USC, the informatics team was very integral in the training process, and they had a very systematic approach, but fundamentally we had, what our best practice tips were, and first of all, it was knowing your team. The core team that will be working with the system, know their strengths and really tailor the system accordingly. They will be your champions when you implement it at a wider scale. So that was instrumental. Also know the tool. You'll be able to roll it out when you really know it, how to use it, know all the features and all the functionalities to it, and also take the time to periodically step back and evaluate. how you rolled out the tool, and whether you're able to accomplish the goals that you had initially, and if you have to, just redirect.
Excellent. Thank you. And if at any time you all have a question or want to ask more detail on something, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll jump in there as well. The next question is what is the best resource you've used to learn more about effective configuration, training strategies, how to become experts in the tool, as you say, Martha? What specific resources have you tried to leverage?
For us, again, it's been tools within or resources within the organization, like our informatics team. At CHLA, as I'm starting to implement it there, we have an organizational effectiveness group who are very knowledgeable in training and dissemination of information and effectively doing it with large-scale teams. So those are the resources that I tap into. I really have an elevator pitch that I use when I pitch the tool to high stakeholders, and they just help me roll it out.
Great.
Organically.
Excellent.
I'd like to add, we rely upon experience and lessons learned from other projects that we've implemented. Very important. We've learned a lot of lessons. We also rely on our central desktop customer service representative, who is getting to know us very well and really helping us, pinpoint some particular areas that, we want to grow in and evolve in, and they're just a big help. So I would encourage everyone to take advantage of that.
I've actually found it helpful in a couple of the cases where I've had some big complainers and really listening to why they weren't happy with the tool, and then taking the time to figure out how we can better configure and give them better tools to make Central Desktop work for them, and actually turning that into some of my more power users now. And then taking those lessons, trying to apply those to our future workspaces and future groups that we're trying to get on.
It can oftentimes not be hard to find who the complainers are, by nature of them sort of having opinions.
Well, it worries me the ones we don't hear about, but at least with the ones that are more vocal, it gives us something to work on.
Yeah, just sort of curious how you go about actually pursuing the ones that are not being vocal, because they can oftentimes be as influential, if not more. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think the best resource at CBS is that man right there, Mark Fordham. I say that because I'm trying to win points.
Whatever requests you have today, Jason.
Actually, Mark has been great in, like I said, getting our training sessions up and running, having Susan and Kevin come on site and walking. I sent out emails and said, hey, there's going to be a day of training sessions, sign up for it, and people came and filled three sessions. They filled completely two of the sessions, and the third session ended up becoming a little more direct for those people who attended. So it was great. That third session happened to be a key executive in the department, so she got a lot of first-class kind of direct help with all the questions that she had. So it actually worked out fantastic in that sense. The other kind of user adoption strategy is just we send out kind of announcement emails whenever a change is going to be made, and we alert everybody well ahead of time of the changes that we're making, any kind of new what's the word I'm looking for? Policy that we're starting with Central Desktop and a particular workspace. So we try to let everybody know well enough ahead of time and try to make it simple enough that they can go to the site and probably figure it out for themselves. We tend to think that the people, when going to it, if they know nothing about it, if they know nothing about the workspace, how are they going to get around it? If they were dropped into it for the first time, where would they go? How would they poke around and push buttons and get to the areas of information that they need to? So we try to, like I said, by putting things on the home tab or home space of a workspace, what is the most important, present it, and let them get in and out as quickly as possible.
Let's move on to our next question. What were some of the main hesitations raised by new users, kind of in line with what we talked about a second ago, raised by the new users of the system that you had to actually overcome, and what sort of in particular did you do to overcome those?
I think for me in both groups, this is another tool that we have to log into, another tool that we have to use. And I think as part of lessons learned, I learned that it's really important to implement it the right way. That if you have a hiccup at the beginning, it's tough to correct, and you have to do a lot of hand-holding in order to get buy-in from the team. And I think that's what happened initially when the tool was implemented at USC with one of the groups. There were a lot of hiccups along the way, and unfortunately, it was a lot of directors that used the tool and didn't use it correctly. And so afterwards, trying to get buy-in, it was a struggle. But once they saw the usefulness and the different functionalities and how it really made their work life easier, that led to greater buy-in. One thing that has worked tremendously for us is making that landing page, that home page, very engaging and informative. Some people really don't dig in further. A lot of our directors at USC will just go to that, and it's a dashboard, and they have stats that will tell them where their project is at, and that's all they need to know. And so
That's great. Thanks, Martha.
One of the big hesitations my users had is very strange as far as I was concerned. When Review and Approve first kind of was launched by Central Desktop, we thought it was a great tool for my users to see a promo, respond to it, look at it, add the notes to it, and send it back to the editor, writer, producer, or whomever. Nobody used it. Now, you would think for a major television network that this is the best tool for the people who make those decisions to use in making those decisions. But nobody used it because it took out the social aspect of their job. They would sit, if the way they approve promos now is they are sent a file, they look at it, and then they will call up the writer, the editor, whatever, and give them the notes that they have, or go into the edit bay, or meet them for lunch, or who knows. But it was a social aspect. So nobody is still using Review and Approve because they like that social interaction. What I've tried to do is to show that you still have the social interaction, but yet you are more efficient in your job through the course of the day, so you can actually get more done, respond to more people in a quicker amount of time so that you can be more social on the back end. And that it's been a kind of difficult lesson for them to learn, but it's one that I'm continuing to push for them. So.
You'll hit on something that was interesting. I'm sort of branding it tool fatigue, like yet another tool that I have to learn. And then you talk about you're removing social from it. I'd be curious, and then you mentioned, Martha, sort of the elevator pitch that I present to other groups. I'm curious what your sort of marketing message or elevator pitch has been to communicate the value of a new tool like this to overcome some of those problems. Anybody on the panel, feel free. But what is your sort of marketing message as you're trying to bring this tool around and get people to buy in?
Well, I think the important thing is that with the tool like Central Desktop, you're being more efficient and you're doing what the tool is meant to be used for, is to collaborate. And if you collaborate in a room or you collaborate over the internet, it's the same collaboration is happening. So the idea is that if you can collaborate with more groups of people faster, then you're getting more work done and everybody benefits. But if you have to schedule meetings, and if your schedule meets up so that you can have the meeting, et cetera, then you're spending more time in scheduling and not in the actual work or art, so to speak, of what you're doing. So it's always that efficiency that we're trying to push at CBS.
Great.
So all of these things apply to our organization too. We kind of hopefully try to drive team collaboration by example, or showing them something that gives them a benefit, that eases a pain point or something. And even the small things. So we've built something called the Sales Toolbox, that our sales organization can go into a workspace. They each have a folder. They call that their toolbox. And it forms and marketing materials, especially that we create for them. We do a lot of customized marketing materials for our salespeople. We put them in the toolbox so that they have access to them from anywhere. And so you would think, you know, if you build it, they will come. No. First of all, getting the word out, you know, letting them know how easy it is, and, you know, training, you know, getting that training thing going again, little mini sessions, grabbing them one-on-one whenever you can, but also using by example. So we had a salesperson who just had a new baby, and the baby he took pictures of the baby playing in some special Alexander's boxes, and we have a new box that has come out that's, you know, a coloring book type version of a box that kids can use, you know, when to prepare for their move and that type of thing. So he had his baby in, you know, these boxes playing, took a great picture of that. So he posted on the homepage of the Sales Toolbox, in the discussions area, he posted, "I'm looking for a caption, you know, for my picture, you know. I'd like to use this in a marketing piece, and I'm looking for a caption." Well, workspace members who didn't realize that they were responding, when they were responding to this email, that they were also responding to the discussion, all of a sudden, all of these replies kept coming in, and they were very creative, very, very creative. So to kind of show how we took this and put it into play, is we took their ideas and we worked it into a brand new marketing piece for him, and then we showed everybody what the marketing piece was and how they contributed to it. And he had his daughter sign a model release, and so now he's allowing other salespeople to use that piece as well.
I think it's interesting, lowering the barrier of entry by making it something very casual, very social, and then all of a sudden they're in there, and then they start to see kind of what it's turned into. That's neat. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a test round here. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to, I suppose it would have been easier to line you up in the right way.
Whoa.
Kathy's off to a good start.
Oh my.
Oh.
Oh.
Hey, Mark, can we repeat the shortcut? Yeah, sorry, 22333. Yep. That's Greg.
Maybe they can move around to the right.
Jason's at the very left.
Yeah, that was probably good.
Followed by Martha, then Greg, and then Kathy. We'll let that settle down. Okay, here we go. Texts are still coming in. Anxious feelings are happening.
Can we vote?
Cannot vote. And let's see our times. Oh, Kathy jumping up. Okay. Give it another couple of seconds. Oh.
Whoa.
Not done yet.
This is good motivation for the next round.
Except in the next couple of rounds, we'll actually speed it up a little bit too, so it's all on your toes. And box on close.
So is the key sensitive?
I don't believe it is.
No, it's not.
All right, I think in this round, please congratulate Jason Deal. That was a safe round. Nobody is off the island yet. You are all still safe. And now let's move into our next round, technology trends. So we'll speed this up a little bit. Try to get to the first question is, what is the typical process by which you, specifically, explore and acquire new technology tools? What is IT's general level of involvement? So how do you go about exploring new tools that your teams or groups may need? What's IT's general level of involvement?
For us, IT is always front and center in the evaluation of different tools. Typically, the way we approach is we do a needs assessment. We see what are the goals that we're trying to accomplish. What's needed in the use of the different tools. And except for Central Desktop, there's no one shoe fits all